Do funny Tinder lines still work for people on Tinder? Absolutely. Hey, welcome to Online for Love, your #1 resource for dating by the numbers. Today we're going to be going over an online dating app called Tinder, but more specifically we're going to be talking about funny Tinder bios and what some good examples are and what some bad examples are as well. But before we get into all that, I do need to tell you guys about our Tinder 101 Hub. Our Tinder 101 Hub consists of 70 plus articles that give you the information needed in order to master Tinder. And another indispensable necessity is our Tinder opening line formula. Using the opening line formula, we've discovered that users have received 3 times the response rate that they had before. You can find those necessities in the links in the bio down below, along with our online dating app quiz and more. Now, in order to make this review a bit easier to comprehend, I've broken it down into these 2 sections. The first of which is funny pickup lines that work, and the second of which is pickup lines that don't work but are still funny. So without further ado, let's jump into #1 on my list, which is funny pickup lines that work. And the first pickup line that I want to talk about is pop culture references. So one thing you can say is, hey, did you know that I seriously considered changing my name to Hey Would You Cuddle Me? This of course being a reference to Bart Simpson and all of his humorous names that he comes up with on the show. Although this type of humor can often be misinterpreted as childish, making humor like this is certainly something that can bring you success and having a great conversation. Of course, this is a very mild and simple idea, and you can absolutely come up with your own unique ideas that span across the entire film or music industry and make references to those in your pickup lines. Having a pickup line that is relevant and relatable to the girl that you are talking to is certainly going to give you some brownie points. The second type of pickup line that I want to talk about that works is name puns. I wish there was a stairway to Helen so I could reach the gates of Helen and so that I can experience and enjoy Helen. Of course, changing out Helen for heaven is what I'm trying to do right here. Obviously, you want to adopt it to the name of the girl that you're utilizing, and of course, in my example too, this could actually allude to an innuendo as well. Of course, when you do these name puns, you want to make sure that you're actually using the name of the person that you're interacting with. Let's take a look at this good example too. Hey, when you have a headache, do you take Advil or Aleve? I need to know how you alleviate your pain, or fine, I'll leave you alone now. Obviously, you can see from this girl's responses that she is enjoying this and making a conversation out of it. The third type of pickup line that I want to talk about that works is rhyming or poetry. So let's look at this example really quick about a girl whose name is Harmon. You must get a lot of puns with your name. Allow me to try. You must hate my ex because you're about to steal her man. Getting really creative here and trying to make it personal for them is absolutely going to give you brownie points in getting a response. Another interesting thing too is that those people who like and subscribe to this channel actually have better success on Tinder. So why don't you go ahead and do that right now? Go ahead, hit like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help us out and push our videos out too. Super duper appreciate it. Another example of pickup lines that work is failed expectations. So let me read this example really quick. Can you tell me what's wrong with girls? When they hear that I have a corner office with a view of the entire city, that I am paid to travel and drive a $500,000 vehicle, they all want to meet. Still, when they hear I'm a bus driver, they all run away. Creative pickup lines like this are really fun. It shows you have a side of humor to you, and it is of course going to stick out among the crowd of all those other heys and what's up beautiful messages that this girl is getting. Here's another quick example of a failed expectation pickup line. A dad is washing his car with his son, and after a while, the son turns to his dad and says, "Dad, why can't we use a sponge?" As you can see from this example, she immediately slid that number right to him. The next pickup line method that works is confusing them. So one way you can go about this, which is a risky take because it could elicit no response, but you could write WYD, which of course to most people means, what are you doing? When she responds, not much, you can then say back, no, where's your dog? As if that's what you were meant to say when you said WYD. This is of course going to be taking them off guard. It'll take them a minute to get it because you're like, what the heck are you asking about? And then she realizes it's the same letters, it's the same acronym and whatnot. And it is going to be something that sticks out and will make you unique. Talking about being unique, you want to find out what the best online dating website is for you out there. Not all dating websites are created the same. So one way you can go about that is by checking out our online dating website quiz. Our online dating website quiz will ask you several questions on what you're looking for in an online dating website. And at the end of that quiz, it's going to let you know what the perfect online dating website is for you personally. Another funny pickup line example that works is trying utter nonsense. So one example you could say is this. Do you notice how ridiculous the word do put zero neve sounds? And if you read it backwards, it's even more stupid. Of course, this is a very childlike joke, but again, it's going to make you stick out because you're not just sending a simple hey like most other guys do. Another pickup line example that you could do is not really a pickup line, but more telling her a story. So one story that I really do like to talk about is one about my niece. where she was talking to her sister about how J.R.R. Tolkien's full name was Jolkin Rolkin Rolkin Tolkien. And I can never get over how funny that is. But of course, I share that humor with people on Tinder and they respond because it is very funny. On top of that as well, it does show that I am somebody who has family connections, because I am talking about my niece and her sister and things along the lines of that. So if you wanted to, in this sense, put stories in together that weave those kind of details in subtly, that'd be perfect for you to do. And another perfect pickup line method that works is GIFs and emojis. Do not underestimate the power of images. There are several different examples that I could show to you today, but I'm sure you've gotten some yourself, and I'm sure you've seen memes online. Sharing memes to other people on Tinder is of course going to show your type of humor to them and show them what kind of person that they're interacting with. And of course, it's going to be much more unique than a hey, which is what you're trying to be. So with all that being said, this is going to move me on to number 2 on my list, which is pickup lines that are still funny, but they definitely do not work. Of course, humor is going to be a very subjective subject, and so there are going to be a lot of humorous tactics that you might find funny, but other people won't find funny, especially if there's somebody you don't really know and somebody you're trying to talk to for a date. So let's go over the first example, which is a straight up insult. So let me read what it says here. You say, hey, do you know what sex position makes the ugliest kids? And she says, missionary perhaps? And you say, ask your parents, they should know. This is plain savage, and it's very funny to me. I can't imagine saying this to a stranger, let alone somebody you just met on Tinder. Imagine, oh my God. This is definitely a joke that you have with somebody who is a long-term friend and not some girl that you've just met. Very funny, but of course is not going to help you bring success in getting a Tinder date. The second pickup line example that doesn't work is sex invitations. Saying something like, preheat the oven because I'm coming in raw, is not really something that you would say to somebody on a first met basis. Maybe this is something you say to your girlfriend or somebody you've hooked up with a few times after you know they're okay with that kind of speak, but opening up with this is definitely a big no. And speaking about opening up with different things, you have to check out our secret Tinder opening line formula. Our secret Tinder opening line formula is a great tool to utilize, especially if you're having trouble having conversations with girls on Tinder. Our secret Tinder opening line formula has gotten guys 3 times more responses versus when they weren't using the formula itself. So if you'd like to get yourself some more responses so that you can have better conversations and better dates, definitely check out our secret Tinder opening line formula. So the third funny pickup line that doesn't work is an invitation to bang. So for example, if I were to say something like, if only you were my pinky toe so I could slam you against all the furniture around my house. Obviously, this is sort of an innuendo, but it's also a little bit too straightforward and harsh. This is going along the same lines as the last one, where you don't want to be too vulgar right off the bat. You want to try and get a feel for a person first before you start talking to them a particular way. Now, another thing you want to make sure that you're not doing is making obscure movie references unless they specifically talk about that obscure movie in their bio or their profile somewhere. So for example, if somebody were to say, sexy legs, baby girl, what time do they open? Very likely she's not going to respond with, they open at the same time I pull this trigger. Want me to open them? This is obviously a very obscure reference. Most people won't get this, and especially most people won't get it on Tinder. Of course, making references to very popular franchises like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or the Marvel Universe or things along the lines of that are typically going to be mostly okay because most people have seen those franchises. Another example of a pickup line that wouldn't work is poorly phrased jokes. So one I would read for you right here is, if you were my girlfriend, I'd give you a D every day of the week. Obviously, this is very lazy and not very thought out, and it was just an excuse to say, I'm gonna give you the D, and it's very, it doesn't do good. Girls aren't going to want to respond to that. Another way a pickup line won't work is by bringing up weird suggestions, and mostly I'm talking about here is fetishes. A lot of guys think it's funny to very straightforward with their fetish and bluntly ask girls if they'd be into it. This is going to be a big no. 99% of the time, they're not going to be into it. Quite opposite of that though, 99% of the time, people are into liking and subscribing to this channel. Absolutely, if you guys could please do that, it really does push our videos out so that more users can utilize this information from us here at Online for Love. We super duper appreciate that like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Another example of a bad pickup line that won't work is making references to your family members. And by this, I specifically mean saying things like, oh, you remind me of what my mom looked like in her younger days. This is very off-putting and very creepy, and most people do not really appreciate a comment like that. A lot of guys really think it's sweet for some reason, but I can tell you right now, most girls do not think that that is cute. The next example of a pickup line that won't work is the fall from anywhere lines. Hey sweetie, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? These lines are used so much, so many people have used them on so many people, and most girls have had this line said to them at least once. So of course, you don't want to seem like a repeated no, so don't make yourself be like that. Make yourself unique. Come up with something that is funny and something that you would want to respond to. So of course, you do want to stick out so that you can have better conversations and better dates, and one way you can go about that is by checking out our Tinder 101 Hub. Our Tinder 101 Hub consists of 70+ articles that give you the information needed in order to master Tinder, and another indispensable necessity is our Tinder opening line formula. Using the Tinder opening line formula, we've discovered that users have received 3 times the response rate that they had before. You can find those necessities in the links in the bio down below, along with our online dating app quiz and more. If you guys wanted to see some more videos from us, be sure to check out the videos popping up on my left and right here. And I did want to ask you guys again one more time to be sure you are hitting like and subscribe. Seriously, we super duper appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys here next time on Online for Love. See ya.